Welcome again to the Shooting USA YouTube channel. We're glad you're here. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing. It really does help with the algorithm. And click the bell icon. That way you'll get notifications every time we post new content. If you're interested in full-length current Shooting USA shows, there's a link to our Vimeo channel in this video's description. A few dollars a month gets you unlimited streaming of over 60 full-length episodes. Also, remember to check us out on Facebook and Instagram. So now, here's what you came to see.
The International Defensive Pistol Association considers these backup guns not big enough to be your primary defensive firearm on the street or in IDPA competition. But in fact, millions of us carry these guns, but we don't shoot them much. Well, with this in mind, IDPA and Smith & Wesson created a match specifically for these guns, small semi-autos and revolvers, to get people competing and sharpening their self-defense skills. It's limited round count, no timed reloads, and no drawing from a holster to make it as new shooter-friendly as possible. And in 1 year, it's proven to be very popular. John Scouten has our coverage from Massachusetts.
It's the shooting sport created from self-defense with firearms, focused to utilize the guns most people actually carry.
Backup gun is where IDPA truly started. You know, it's truly the essence of what IDPA was intended to be. Backup guns are what people carry all the time.
This is the Smith & Wesson IDPA Backup Gun Nationals, held on the historic ranges of the Smith & Wesson Employee Shooting Center. The indoor venue allows stage designers to be more detailed when creating the courses of fire, a valuable asset when building interesting and challenging shooting scenarios that adhere to the traditional model for backup gun competition. No draws from a holster, no reloads on the clock, and 5-round strings of fire.
IDPA actually allows 6 rounds and reloads on the clock and a draw from the holster for backup gun competition. Smith & Wesson has more stringent safety requirements of the 5 rounds, no draws from the holster, no reloads on the clock, which is fine. You know, we think that's great. Hey, they host the competition. It's wonderful. But it does create some challenges to designing stages that are interesting and enjoyable and challenging within just that 5-round string.
The challenge of making this match interesting is most commonly met by the course designers with a creative first element, retrieving the backup gun. On many of the stages, it's a unique starting position for the firearm, like under the chef's stone at the dinner table. The stage Trouble for Dinner. 3 strings of fire, 5 shots each string, 5 targets. First string, strong hand only. Second string, support hand only. And on the 3rd string, it's freestyle, but when you retrieve your firearm, you release the swinging non-threat targets.
Are you ready? Stand by.
On the stage right next door, there's another non-threat target in the way, and this time, the shooter must get their gun from the piano stool.
Stage 3 of the match is known as Who's Bad, and it's shot in 3 strings of fire, the first of which is the one I find most interesting. 1 target requiring 3 shots to the body and 2 to the head. On the start signal, shooters will engage the target bot, retrieve their pistol from the piano stool, and engage the threat target, being careful not to hit that non-threat.
With only 5 shots to work with, shooters must put an added emphasis on accuracy. There are no makeup shots here, an aspect that works well for Team Smith & Wesson's Doug Koenig.
It's totally different, you know, with the minimum round count, you know, you're not drawing from a holster. It's supposed to simulate a backup gun, so the gun could be on a, you know, table and a briefcase, you know, different situations. But what I like about it, it's simple from a stage design, but you still have to think.
You have to think, and you have to hit the center of the target, because in IDPA, your score is your time, and you must shoot accurately to avoid penalty. The IDPA target scores like this. Hits in the center are called 0 and add no time. Hits in the first ring out are called 1 and add half a second. Hits in the outermost area are called 3 and add a second and a half. A miss is called 5 and adds 2.5 seconds. A hit on a non-threat target adds 5 seconds to the shooter's time. The danger of hitting a non-threat is amplified when they move, and that is happening in a big way on the stage Rough Ride. Shooters have their backup gun at the ready. When the toolbox drops, it triggers the moving target array. There are 5 threat targets designated by the gun stenciled on. Each gets 1 shot. Doug Koenig makes quick and efficient work of it.
I like the fact that it's simple. It's 5 shots, whether you hit, whatever. There's no gaming it out.
And there's no gaming the IDPA backup gun size and weight inspection.
If clear, slide forward, trigger, empty magazine, insert the pistol in the box, please.
Once the size requirement is met, it's a physical inspection of all safeties, followed by the scale to measure unloaded weight, 29 ounces maximum for semi-autos. The process is the same for revolvers. The box is slightly larger, and the maximum weight is 38 ounces.
The size and weight limitations are seen in all of the IDPA's divisions, and in backup gun competition, it's as simple as selecting one of the many factory options out there. For me, it's the Bodyguard 380. And backup gun competition is a welcoming challenge for all of the participants in the match. We'll meet some of the adaptive shooters next.
Shooting USA is brought to you by the M&P by Smith & Wesson, advanced by design.
It's a sad fact that in a self-defense scenario, an adaptive person would be more likely the target of attack than someone perceived to be able-bodied. Well, if a bad guy were to make that assumption about any of the individuals you're about to meet, well, let's just say that's a mistake one would make only once.
The IDPA has put forth great effort to make its matches welcoming and accessible to adaptive shooters, and that certainly applies to backup gun competition. Smith & Wesson's Trevor Balcom is a regular participant in IDPA matches, and his experience is revealed on the targets. Another shooter with experience overcoming physical challenges and competing in the IDPA is Anthony Spinelli. And this year, he's doing it a little differently.
Last year, I completed the entire course from my wheelchair, and this year, I decided I'd come back and do it on my feet and hope for another division win. The swingers, movers, I can hit those. Those aren't a problem. Shooting's not my problem. It's more negotiating the course of fire. So when it comes to taking a knee, standing up from a knee, any sort of movement that way is kind of tricky.
Alongside Anthony, triple amputee Andrew Buttrell is shooting his first backup gun national.
I'm right below the knee amputee, left above the knee amputee, and a left arm through elbow amputee. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
How did all of that happen?
I got blown up in Afghanistan. So.
Very matter of fact.
Yeah, it happened. The cool thing about IDPA is they just rewrote the rule book this past year, 2015, and Joyce did a really good job of making allowances for disabled shooters. I've been on prosthetics for 4 years, so I just do it on my prosthetics. But you can do it. There's always a way, really. Any way you look at it, there's always a way.
And the proof is in Andrew's performance on the challenging stage Trouble for Dinner. On the third string, the non-threat swingers come into play, but Andrew isn't phased. His raw time for the string is just a tick over 7 seconds, and his total for the stage is 33.55. Mike Seeklander is the defending semi-auto champion here, and when you watch his movement, you can see why. He is very fast, but nothing seems rushed. String 2 is support hand only, and again, it's crisp and decisive shot placement from Mike. The final string now. It's a great set of 3 strings that total 19.62 seconds. For Doug Koenig, the first 2 strings of fire on Trouble for Dinner are without drama, quick and clean. Now it's the tricky string 3, and this is where it unravels for Doug. His 3 strings total 17.17, but 6 points down on the targets adds 3 seconds, giving the stage to Mike. There's a new face in the crowd that the veterans might not yet see coming. Team Glock's Shane Coley is making this his first national level IDPA match. And on the stage Who's Bad, Shane delivers his opening statement. He has the speed to win. Shane's 3 strings total 17.30, but 6 points down on the targets adds 3 seconds.
A little rough. I pulled one shot on one of the headshots on the kneeling part, but other than that, I think it went really well. My times have been good, so just kind of got to make sure to stay on my front sight more.
They call the stage Who's Bad for a reason. The threat targets behind the door are changed randomly between shooters, so competitors have to think on their feet. Another young gun who has the stuff to push to the front is Mason Lane. And on Who's Bad, the young SIG shooter lets Shane and everyone else know he is here to win. Mason's raw time of 18.58 becomes 19.58 after his targets reveal 2 points down. Stage 6 of the match is known as In the Still of the Night. 3 strings of fire. The first has the shooter laying on their side addressing targets 1 through 5. The first 3 are falling targets, so shooters must be quick. Gordon Carroll is exactly that, and he's accurate. 12.64 seconds total for the 3 strings and clean. No penalty time added from the targets.
Time, 4.56.
Glock shooter Dion Martin will be the fastest on stage 6, but with that speed comes the risk of stray shots. And in backup gun competition, accuracy is critical. Dion's raw time of 11.56 becomes 12.56 after the targets are scored, just edging Gordon out of the top spot on the stage. Glock teammate Shane Coley is continuing to find the balance between speed and accuracy, and stage 6 will continue his learning curve. These are the fastest strings of fire on the stage we've seen, totaling 10.29, but the targets show 9 points down, adding 4.5 seconds.
In the end, Shane did find the balance, shooting well enough to take the title in his first national level IDPA competition. Defending champion Mike Seeklander is second, and junior Mason Lane is third. High lady honors go to Randy Rogers. But we're not done yet at the Smith & Wesson Employee Shooting Center. We'll take a closer look at some of the guns seen in the match. That's next. When it comes to selecting a backup gun for everyday carry, there are so many options out there at every price point. So how to choose? Well, for everyday carry, the key is to determine how you intend to carry. Maybe in a pocket, maybe inside the waistband, maybe in an ankle holster. That's the first decision that will get you to your next. For competition, the key is to go with what you have. That way your skill building will translate in the event you need it off the range.
The choices for backup gun competition are as unique and varied as the shooters who compete with them.
get your carry gun out and shoot it in competition. It's a good format to be able to come do that.
For Doug Koenig, it's a gun he's had plenty of experience with.
It's my standard carry gun. It's my M&P compact 9mm. So that's exactly what I brought here. Nothing trick, nothing exotic or tweak. Stock trigger, stock 3-dot white sights. The gun shoots really good. I was shooting some groups yesterday at the range at 25 yards. They were shooting probably 2.5 inches offhand. And my claim to fame with this gun, I shot a coyote at 64 yards. So with boots and in my underwear. So
that's a gun you can count on. And so is the Sig P320 that Anthony Spinelli has built especially for the match.
So we've got the Sig P320, which is what I'm running, and it's a highly modular gun where instead of the frame being serialized, it's just a trigger group. So you can remove that trigger group, put it in any size frame from full size, compact, and subcompact, and any different caliber you'd like, 9, 40, 357 Sig. So what I've done is I've taken a subcompact slide to meet the requirements of bug 3.6 inches or less, and I've installed that on a compact frame. With that, the dust cover hangs off a little bit. So since it's just a $30 replaceable part, buzz that off, and now you've got a compact grip and a subcompact slide, which is a pretty nice bug gun.
Anthony's Sig requires some slight downsizing to meet the regulations, and so does Joe Linsky's wheel gun.
Shooting a Smith & Wesson Model 66, 3-inch barrel. It's got bobbed hammer, Packmeyer grips with a little work done to them, so it would fit into the backup gun box. A little bit of polish work in there, so it's got a little bit of light and trigger, some things like that, but it's been working out really well for me so far. It's pretty much a tack driver. These 3-inch 66s, it's a great gun. K-frame's a good way to go.
For Shane Coley, his choice is a Glock Model 26.
I like 26 because it's got more real estate. I have big hands, so I need a big grip on the gun. No, I don't have the grip stippled at all. I put Trijicon HD night sights for some of the low light stages and stuff, and I did a trigger job to the gun to have better trigger than stock. So choosing the 26 for me was more of a personal preference. Allows me to have more control of the recoil and stuff, so that's the reason I chose that one.
Team Smith & Wesson's Julie Golub is running the newest M&P Shield. So new, in fact, that it isn't recognized by the IDPA for competition yet.
Sure, I am shooting the Smith & Wesson Performance Center M&P ported shield. I'm using the 9mm version, comes in 40 as well, and it is a fun little gun. I have a little bit of experience competing with a regular shield, the standard shield, in this match, but this is by far the first time a ported has ever been shot, and who knows, maybe there'll be a change in the rules in the future for it.
You're also shooting full power ammo, which means a pretty impressive light show out of that thing.
I am shooting some good hot ammo. I'm actually shooting carry ammunition, Federal Premium Hydra-Shocks here, and it has a little bit more kick than my target ammo, but it's neat to see. And I thought that I would notice the flash, but really I haven't, and that's kind of neat, especially in the lower light conditions.
Like Julie mentioned, the ported barrel and slide of the M&P Performance Center ported shield is not accepted by IDPA rules for competition. But her performance in the match did prove valuable in debunking the scuttlebutt surrounding the release of the ported shield that flash from the ports would affect a shooter's vision in low light scenarios. Clearly not an issue for Julie. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you're interested in full-length current episodes of Shooting USA, there's a link in the video description to our Vimeo channel. A couple bucks a month gets you access to more than 60 episodes, and premieres are added the morning after they debut on Outdoor Channel.